someone has to tell me, why is this guy always in the doghouse with the online hall monitors of righteousness? It is a phenomenon that truly fascinates me, that every couple of years, Matt Damon, one of the most likable guys in Hollywood with impeccable liberal credentials, is again flailing around in cancel culture quicksand. There are too many people in this country who are motivated not by what they really believe, but by what will get Twitter to react to them with likes and retweets. That's called bad faith. It's why every couple of years I'm reading headlines like USA Today, I wish I could cancel Matt Damon. Washington Post, Matt Damon has more Damon-splaining to do. Daily Beast, shut up, Matt Damon!
Matt Damon seems to have earned a permanent place in the crosshairs of modern outrage culture, where even the smallest misstep can trigger a backlash. What makes this especially strange is that Damon has long supported progressive causes and openly aligns with liberal values. Yet that hasn't spared him from criticism. Once a narrative forms, there's rarely a way out. Enter Bill Maher, a comedian known for challenging ideological extremes. He steps in not just to defend Damon, but to dissect the reaction surrounding him with sharp, unapologetic humor. Settle in, because this debate taps into something much bigger than one actor. And if this topic resonates with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts along the way.
It's not always meant as a, but it's wrong, yes, of course. And Damon owned up, saying that while coming of age in Boston in the 70s and 80s, that word was thrown around without any thought put into it. And now he's put some thought into it, and he's going to stop using it. One might say he became woke. Okay, he was late to the party, to which we could say, welcome, glad you could make it. Or we could say, you came later than I did, die!
Maher begins by laying out the facts plainly. Damon, without public pressure or a campaign targeting him, made a personal choice to stop using a term that has historically been used as an insult toward gay people. It wasn't performative, and it wasn't prompted by outrage. It was simply a private decision rooted in consideration. One might expect that to be acknowledged as progress. Instead, criticism followed anyway. Maher highlights the irony. Even sincere efforts to do better are often dismissed if they don't align perfectly with ever-shifting expectations. The reaction to Damon's quiet self-correction illustrates a larger issue. Intent and growth are frequently ignored in favor of punishment.
A couple of years, I'm reading headlines like USA Today, I wish I could cancel Matt Damon. Washington Post, Matt Damon has more Damon-splaining to do. Daily Beast, shut up, Matt Damon! Vox, Matt Damon isn't a terrible person, he's just ignorant. Really? That bad, is he? We're talking about Matt Damon? I don't know, he's got a clean water charity and delivers food to Haiti. What have you done, Vox headline writer?
Much of this reaction, Maher suggests, is fueled less by genuine concern and more by incentives baked into modern media. Outrage drives attention, and attention drives clicks. Balanced perspectives and nuance rarely go viral, but controversy almost always does. That's why the positive work Damon has done, philanthropy, advocacy, and long-term contributions, rarely makes headlines. Those stories don't generate the same engagement as scandal. So minor moments get inflated, context is stripped away, and controversy is manufactured. Once you recognize how outrage is monetized, the pattern becomes hard to ignore.
And yet he is always getting pulled over by the woke police for something. He's got a woke rap sheet as long as your arm. On the reboot of the Project Greenlight series, he was booked on obstruction of social justice for maintaining that a director should be chosen on merit first. But merit first is not synonymous with racism. Thinking that it is, that's kind of racist.
At the center of another flare-up was Damon's comment about selecting creative teams based on merit. In filmmaking, choosing directors, producers, and cast based on experience and skill has always been standard practice. Damon didn't present this as a political statement. He simply described how the industry works when it's focused on quality. Yet even that practical observation was reinterpreted as controversial. What should have been a straightforward point about professionalism was reframed as something far more contentious. In today's climate, Even emphasizing craftsmanship over ideology can invite criticism.
In 2015, Damon did hard time in Twitter jail on 2 counts of accessory to homophobia for saying that actors do well when they keep their private lives private so that audiences can watch the character on the screen without thinking about the caricature from the tabloids, and that includes your sexuality. Which is true. One of the reasons I love Daniel Day-Lewis is I'm not sure he even exists off-screen. But in Wokeville, somehow that became gay actors should go back in the closet, which is not what he said, but the verdict was in and he was sentenced to appear on Ellen.
Maher has often argued that actors are best served by keeping their personal lives separate from their professional work. Once audiences begin scrutinizing private opinions, perceptions shift and expectations change. Damon's remarks reflected that reality. He wasn't advocating exclusion or intolerance, but rather discretion. His point was about maintaining boundaries between art and personal belief. Still, the message was distorted. What was meant as a practical observation about privacy was rebranded by critics as something more troubling, demonstrating how quickly nuance can be lost.
Here's how unhomophobic Matt Damon is. He Liberace. 2016, the movie The Great Wall opened, and Damon was brought up on charges of whitewashing in the 3rd degree. Whitewashing being when filmmakers cast white actors for parts meant for people of color, which is exactly what he was not doing. His role was never meant for a Chinese actor. In fact, it was a Chinese-made movie targeted primarily to the Chinese audience that was purposefully using his white act so the movie would have crossover appeal here. Nevertheless, when I heard about this, I immediately replaced Matt's poster over my bed with Chris Evans.
It often seems as though Damon faces criticism no matter what he does. Speak up and it's a problem. Stay quiet and that's criticized too. Maher revisits the controversy surrounding the Great Wall to make this point. The film was produced by Chinese studios, rooted in Chinese history, and aimed at a global audience. Casting Damon was a business decision intended to boost international appeal, not an attempt to rewrite cultural narratives. Maher's argument is simple. Collaboration across cultures doesn't erase them. But once again, a routine industry choice was transformed into a moral dispute.
2017, in the early days of the Me Too movement, Damon was locked up in Alcatraz on a charge of aggravated mansplaining during a reckoning and was sentenced to not less than 1 year of having to shut the up. See, what happened was during an interview where Damon called the Me Too movement wonderful and a watershed moment, he added that sexual misconduct involved a spectrum of behavior and that there was a difference between patting someone on and rape. True, undeniable, and unforgivable. Even though the legal system has always differentiated degrees for crimes, even... Oh, Matt, always getting in trouble for saying perfectly reasonable things.
Maher doesn't fault Damon for refusing to engage in public outrage on demand. What Damon expressed was measured and thoughtful, but that often isn't enough. Critics expected him to adopt a more absolutist tone, especially during broader cultural movements calling for sweeping condemnation. When he chose restraint over spectacle, that restraint was treated as wrongdoing. Maher captures this dynamic clearly. In outrage culture, refusing to oversimplify complex issues is often seen as a failure rather than a strength.
Now he's done it again by breaking Liam's law. Yes, that's the law that refers to the time a few years back when actor Liam Neeson recounted a story of personal growth involving racist thoughts he had as a young man, but then realizing the error of his ways, expunging the racist element from his anger. But of course, in so doing, he committed the cardinal sin of admitting he was not born perfect and did not emerge from the womb completely enlightened like Buddha. And now Matt's done it with his gay admission. Committed the crime of not always being the person you would become.
At the heart of this issue is an unrealistic expectation of perfection. Outrage culture often treats past mistakes as permanent labels, leaving little room for learning or growth. Context is dismissed, and personal development is rarely acknowledged. Yet no one meets that standard, not even the most vocal critics. Everyone has moments they'd revise if given the chance. progress comes from reflection and change, not from freezing people in their worst moments. When growth is ignored, accountability turns into fear, and open conversation disappears.
You know, I'm so tired of bad faith arguments, and it's all we do now on both sides of our divide. 2 weeks ago, Nancy Pelosi called Republican House Leader Kevin McCarthy a moron. Oh, that's not the bad faith part of the story, that's the true part. But a few days later, McCarthy was speaking to a group of Republicans and said, jokingly, but he is Kevin McCarthy, he said that if Republicans took the House in 2022, quote, I want you to watch Nancy Pelosi hand me that gavel. It will be hard not to hit her with it. Pelosi's office called it a threat of violence. Hakeem Jeffries said violence against women is no laughing matter. And Eric Swalwell said McCarthy was a would-be assailant who must resign. Shut up.
Maher draws a parallel with another example involving political humor. When Kevin McCarthy once made an exaggerated joke referencing Nancy Pelosi, it was widely understood as metaphorical. Still, it was quickly reframed as something far more serious. Outrage escalated, headlines multiplied, and the remark was treated as literal rather than rhetorical. Maher's point isn't about defending poor jokes. It's about how quickly intent is discarded. When every statement is interpreted in the most extreme way possible, language itself loses meaning.
This is what bad faith is. You don't really think it was a threat of violence, or that anyone thinks such violence would be a laughing matter, or that Kevin McCarthy is a would-be assailant, any more than anyone thinks Matt Damon's a homophobe. And Matt, my advice to you, stop hunting for goodwill. You're not going to find much in this country.
Ultimately, this pattern reveals a deeper problem. Outrage has overtaken reason, and punishment has replaced dialogue. Whether the target is Matt Damon, a politician, or anyone else, context and intent often don't factor into the response. Bill Maher's critique is clear. When growth is dismissed and perfection is demanded, no one is safe from becoming the next target. Humor becomes suspect, nuance becomes unacceptable, and common sense is treated as offensive. That's where we'll leave it for today. If you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and join us again for more thoughtful commentary.